Okay, it's time to start our esports coverage for 2023. And no, it's not going to be with Overwatch. We are looking at Valorant and the VCT, the Valorant Champions Tour. This is going to be a new feature on this channel because I want to follow this. VCT is super interesting and I think it could be super interesting to follow. But first of all, we need to go over what exactly the VCT is and how it's going to work this time around, because VCT has been overhauled for 2023 going on forward. And it's looking pretty damn interesting. VCT is the Valorant Champions Tour, the premium feature esports event for Valorant, and it takes place globally across 3 different regions this time around. But let's get into it in more depth. This is how the structure of VCT works for 2023 and generally going forward, although 2023 is slightly different with its revamp. They've decided to give it a little bit more flash and flair at the start of the year and allow teams to settle in slightly to its new format and their new rosters, because a lot of things have changed since previous times with the VCT. Anyway, the VCT has multiple different levels. The Valorant Champions Tour is very complex and it has a really nice system of promotion. There are franchise teams now. It's very interesting how they've gone about it, but we'll see how it works over this coming year. The main feature for VCT will be the international leagues that lead into Masters and then into Champions. Champions being your premium end of year showcase of Valorant talent. The best of the best working to become the world champions of Valorant. And the international leagues, they are normally 2 splits in the year, but this year there will only be 1 split. We'll get onto that in a minute. But usually 2 international league splits of 30 teams, 10 teams for each region. One region is America, the other is EMEA, and another is APAC or Asia. So 10 teams for each of those regions. They're going to fight it out across 8 weeks. Now, usually there would be a first international split, but this time there won't be. There'll only be 1 international split this year. That will take place after the initial tournament that's going to kick off the big hype for VCT this year, the VCT lock-in in Sao Paulo. We will talk more about the Sao Paulo VCT lock-in in another video. That's going to take place over 3 weeks from this month into March. After that, though, they will be moving on to their international split for this year. This is when they split up into their America, EMEA, and APAC regions. America is based in Los Angeles, EMEA will be based in Berlin, and APAC will be based in Seoul. The international split begins in March and will take place over 8 weeks. They will crown 3 regional champions in May. But that's not all that's at stake here. The top 3 teams in each region will go through and have invitations to the Masters tournament returning in June, featuring the top teams from each international league, and they will fight it out for a direct qualification to champions later in the year. Who are the teams taking part in the international leagues, though? They've all been invited and are now partner teams for the VCT, and we will see and look at what we are going to see from these teams. So EMEA is made up of BBL Esports, Fnatic, Foot Esports, Giants, Carmine Corp, Koi, Naturus Vincere, Team Heretics, Team Liquid, and Team Vitality. When you move over to the Americas, we will see 100 Thieves, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, Ferrari Esports, Crew Esports, Leviathan, Loud, MIBR, NRG, and Sentinels. Loud are a very familiar name from previous year's VCT tournament. And in Asia, we will see Destination FM, DRX, Gen G, Global Esports, PaperX, Regs Rigum. I'm probably not saying some of these right, but hey, T1, Talent Esports, Team Secret, and Zeta Division. A lot of these might be familiar names. If you're unfamiliar with VCT, if you're unfamiliar with Valorant, you may have heard of some of these names before in other esports. For example, if you are a follower of the Overwatch League, Gen G might be familiar to you because they have heavy links and are the owners of Seoul Dynasty. For example, T1 also have heavy links with what used to be Philadelphia Fusion and are now Soul Infernal, I think. Also, Global Esports have had history and contenders of Overwatch as well. But we're not here for Overwatch, we're here for Valorant. And those are the 30 teams that are going to be taking part not only in the VCT International Leagues, but also the VCT lock-in, with the additional 2 Chinese teams coming along as well. So those teams will fight it out for those top 3 spots in each region, which will go through and have invitations to the Masters tournament in June. But that won't be the only chance to get through. Masters will be the big tournament that will determine who will try and get through to that Champions tournament later in the year. But there won't just be the Masters tournament to try and qualify for that Champions tournament. In July, they are bringing back last chance qualifiers. They are essentially the best of the rest. The top performing teams that have not qualified for Champions yet will get their last chance to grab an invitation to the Champions tournament. The 3 last chance qualifiers will take place, and they will have 1 advancing from each qualifying for Champions. So if you do a little bit of maths, 1 from each of those 3 last chance qualifiers is another 3 teams. 3 teams from each region. That means you're getting 12 teams in Champions at the end of the year. There is a caveat to this though, a slightly lower level if you want to say. The level below this, in July you will see Ascension tournaments. The best teams from across 20 challenger leagues that are going on at the moment and competing earlier in the year, including now, they fight out for a prize and potential promotion to those international leagues for the next year, which is obviously a big step because those international leagues are the next step towards Champions, which is your premium Valorant tournament. There will be 2 challenger splits. The current one is running into March, and then there'll be a second from March till June. And that's where you can see very regular Valorant play. If you want to continue watching high-level Valorant play and keeping up to date with it, that is your one-stop place for it. And that will be going on pretty much all year. Until then, you have Masters and Champions to look forward to as well, not too long after those finish. So there's going to be plenty of Valorant esports for you to keep up with if you so wish to. Finally, obviously, at the end of the year, you will be rounding it out with Champions. Champions is the premium, top-end, best of the best, fighting it out for the Champions Cup and the crown of World Champions of Valorant and the VCT. That is going to be an amazing show. It always is. It's no doubt going to come with cosmetics in-game. We've seen Vandal skins for Champions. We've seen Phantom skins for Champions. We'll see what it is this year. People are rumoring either a Sheriff or an Operator. Be interesting to see which one it is. I'm hoping for a Sheriff, not gonna lie, but you know, we can't have everything our way. And that will be an amazing show. Always is. They certainly know how to really impress with their esports events. I'm not gonna lie. That is the brief structure. I suppose it's a brief overview of the structure of the Valorant Champions Tour for 2023. Remember, going on forward from here, we won't have this VCT lock-in tournament that is going on at the start of the year. It will be a first International League split, and then it'll be followed by a second International League split. That's how it's going to be run most of the time. But this year, they have decided that they want to run the VCT lock-in to showcase the new structure of the VCT and to showcase all these 30 teams, well, there'll be 32 at the VCT lock-in, and basically show what VCT can do. It's the biggest tournament and invitational that they have ever done. And so it should be an amazing show, and I'll be tuning into it. I don't know about you guys. There will be a second video coming up concentrating on the VCT lock-in itself, and I hope you can join for that one. Make sure you hit the bell and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for that. I will be keeping up with the Valorant Champions Tour across the year. How often, I'm not too sure. This is not a fully esports channel, but we will keep an eye on it, and it should be really interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of great plays and a lot of amazing stuff to watch. But that is it from me today. I hope I got everything right, by the way. I have been doing a lot of research on this recently, and thank you to my good friend River, who helped me out with a lot of this and has followed Valorant esports for a little while now and has played a fair bit of Valorant himself, much more than me. Anyway, I'm getting there. But thank you for joining for this one, and make sure you keep an eye out for that VCT lock-in video coming up very soon, and the rest of the content coming your way, whether it be Valorant, Overwatch, or anything else. You never know. But bye-bye for now. See ya!